Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Today, this video is a little bit different for me. Recently, I've been doing all the other videos with the different series. If you have just immigrated from South Africa to England, or you are planning on immigrating to England from South Africa, why not go and have a look at those videos? I've done various different topics and I've tried to be helpful. It just makes the immigration process a little bit easier, but obviously I don't have all the answers, but sometimes you just need something just to have a look at and realize that other people have gone through the same things you're going through. So to go on to today's video, I'm going to be talking about renewing your passport. I'm going to be talking about renewing your South African passport from the UK. Here in England, there is one in London, so we had to go to London. So what we did, and it was a very simple procedure, is we planned a day to go to London. But I will get into how you go ahead and make those plans because you need a date. So let's get started with the most important thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert here how I went through the website, and so that you can see. So you can start by typing in South African High Commission to Google, or you can use the link that I will put in the description. You then click on Home. You give the South African website a couple of seconds to load up, and then you'll click on Home Affairs. This address is very important. This is where you'll be requesting your documents from. There is an important bit of information there, as well as some banking details. I will now highlight the email address that you will need to use when you are requesting your appointment. That email address is very important. And as you will see here, I'm now highlighting the price of the new passport tariffs. Please remember to check this. There's an important notice with regards to VFS, and they also give you a link there. Then the following services will still be rendered at the Home Affairs section of the High Commission by appointment, and I have highlighted all the different things. Of course, like I've said, Casey and Hannah needed a first ID book as well as a first adult passport, and that's why we went to the High Commission. I'm just highlighting all the different things for you to have a look at, if you may need any of those other things. Then this is quite important. The following services are rendered strictly by post. So those are things like retaining your South African citizenship, etc. I have also put here the documents that you need for the accompanying documents that you need for each individual thing: adult passport, child passport, identity documents, birth registration, etc. So that is pretty much all that you need to look at on the website. Please make sure to read everything completely. And yeah, let's continue with the video. So I've showed you the postal address, which is on the website. That is the postal address where you need to send your self-addressed envelopes. So let's so the first step is you need to identify what you need. So the reason I contacted the High Commission is because there are certain tasks that the High Commission does, and there are certain tasks that they have given to VFS. So one of those tasks is a new ID document and an adult passport. Now, Casey and Hannah needed both. They needed an ID book and they needed a passport, an adult passport. So we had to go to the High Commission for these things. So like you've just watched me do on the video, I went and I got the first thing that you need to do is you start with the postal address. So I got the postal address and we filled in the postal address on an envelope. We then inserted an A4 self-addressed envelope for the High Commission to send the forms back. Now, the important thing to remember here is that you have to have those forms have to come from the High Commission because they've got a barcode on them, and that's what they require. So you send your self-addressed envelope, in there requesting the documents. So I requested the documents for the ID book and I requested the documents for the adult passport. Now, we went to the post office and we sent the envelope to the South African High Commission on first class, and the self-addressed envelope on the inside coming back to us was also first class, so that it was as quick as possible. Childhood passports were about to expire, so we had to get them brand new passports, and the best thing is they were eligible for adult passports, so we could get them an adult passport. They were also eligible for their ID books because they were over 16. So now everything has gone off to London and my documents have come back. And remember what I said in my postal video, the first class stamp is great because it will make sure that if I post it here today, it will be in London by tomorrow, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. If the South African High Commission posted to me tomorrow, it would be with me by 1 o'clock on Wednesday. You've done all of that. Your documents have arrived back. You sit and fill in the documents. Now on the documents, it will tell you what accompanying documents you need for each item. So I don't remember it 100%, so I don't want to say. It's better for you to check on the website like we've just done what the accompanying documents are. So for an example, for the ID book, sorry, that's mine. The ID book is that they would need their unabridged birth certificate. I think it's my ID book, etc., things like that. Now, just a quick thing, I don't ever want to really discuss this on my channel, but I am Casey and Hannah's only parent on their birth certificate. So I was the only parent that they needed with them to apply for their ID book and their passport. But that, yeah. So for example, if your child has a mother and a father, especially with the passport, please remember this. This is very important. If you're going to do your child's passport, whichever parents are on the birth certificate have to be with the child when applying for a passport. Okay, that is very important. With the passport is very important. Whichever parents are on the birth certificate have to be there to apply for the passport. I think it's the same with the ID. I'm not too sure, but because I was Casey and Hannah's only parent on the birth certificate, and because I had taken them into London, I was with them. So, but just check that up when you are applying for an ID book. Just check if the parent needs to be present or not. Okay, so now you have filled in all the forms. You've got all the accompanying documents that you need. You now go online. Okay, and you get the email address. Now, when I inserted that video just now, I highlighted the email address, but I will have the email address down below in the description. I will also link the South African High Commission down in the description as well. You have to send an email to the High Commission to tell them what services you need. So, because Casey and Hannah both needed an ID book and they both needed a passport, what I did was I wrote "To whom it may concern, we require the following." Then I put Casey's full name, her ID number, ID book, ID book and adult passport. Then I went to the bottom of the screen and I did the same with Hannah. So I said Hannah's full name, her ID number, ID book, adult passport. And I sent that like that to the High Commission. I think it was just over a week. The South African High Commission will answer you within a few weeks. We only waited approximately a week for the response. They will give you a date and time to be there. Now, you cannot negotiate with the High Commission. Okay, they give you a date, you have to go on that date. So what we had to do is we had to ask we had to ask permission for Hannah to not be at college that day, and Casey had to take a day's leave from work. Because I'm a stay-at-home mom, I didn't need to take leave, but I was able to go with them. We then booked a train from where we live to Victoria Station in London, because Victoria Station is not close, but it's not far from the High Commission, because the High Commission is actually near Trafalgar Square. So if you know where Victoria Station is and you know where Trafalgar Square is, that's where you're going. They will give you a date, they will give you a time, and they will also ask you to bring certain things. So for example, a black pen. They did request that we bring masks with us, but we actually didn't need to wear them. Once we were in there, it was left up to you if you want to wear them, but they did ask you to please bring a mask with you. Okay, so now everything is booked. You've got your date, you've booked your train, or you booked your transport, how to get to the High Commission. The very next step is that you need to get all your documents in order. Okay, what I did the night before is I sat with all of the documents again. I went through everything, I checked everything again, and I made sure that I had all my documents. I made sure that I had all of the accompanying documents, and I had them all in a row. And Casey and Hannah actually loaned me like a folder type thing, and we had all of Hannah's papers in there and all of Casey's papers in there, and we had all of my papers right at the back, because I needed my ID book, I needed my passport, etc., etc. So remember, when you are going to do these things, make sure you have the accompanying documents. And you need, sorry, I forgot to mention, you need a copy, 2 copies of each accompanying document. So for example, if this is your ID book, you are the parent, and you need to have 2 copies of your ID book. You need to have 2 copies of your passport. And it does say on the website certified, but at the South African High Commission, they certified our documents for us. So don't take it as it's going to be a problem. If you can get them certified, go ahead and do it yourself. But if you can't, they will certify it for you at the South African High Commission. When you get there, there is a man standing outside the High Commission. He has a clipboard, and on that clipboard is all the names of the people that have appointments for that day. So remember, however you're getting into London, however you're getting to the consulate, make sure you are on time. Okay, I think the email said 15 minutes before your appointment time, but try and make sure you are on time. We got there within more than enough time. We checked our names on the clipboard, and he let us in. He told us to go and wait over there. There are seats there where you go and wait. You also get issued a number. When they call your number, you get up. Now, if you have children who are siblings, I'm not sure if it's the same, but because Casey and Hannah were twins, they called us at the same time. Okay, it might be, if you have siblings, it might be exactly the same. I'm not, your children are siblings, I'm not sure. We got called up to the counter together, the 3 of us. We did Casey's information first, and we then did Hannah's information. So it probably took us around half an hour for both of them, and all the documentation and everything. Then the next thing that you need to remember is, when you get in there, put on your friendly, happy face. I know it's not always an exciting experience. I remember Home Affairs, when we got our passports in South Africa, we stood in a queue for 6 hours. It was not fun. So it's not going to be like that at the High Commission, because you've been given an appointment, so you don't have to stand in a queue. But try and be friendly, put on a happy face, be kind to the staff that are working there, and just try your best to be happy and friendly. We had a lovely experience. We had a lovely lady behind the counter. She was extremely friendly. She was very professional. She helped me. There was a certain part of the document I had forgotten to fill in. She helped me fill it in. You know, she just was a lovely lady. And we chatted to her, and we asked her about, you know, and she saw where we lived, and she said, oh, that's a lovely place to live. And we said, oh, where do you live? And she said, no, she lives near London. So just be nice to the staff. They are there to do a job. Put on a happy face and just be as friendly and kind as you can be. And then when we finished all of that, we then had to go and pay. Now, this is a big thing. Please remember, there is no card machines at the High Commission. You have to have cash on you. But we got the incorrect price. Just try and check the price as well. Keep checking the website if you need to, but try and check the price, because the price does change. I mean, it goes up. I don't know if it goes up yearly but originally we saw it was £35, but it had gone up to £58 when Casey and Hannah had gone. So I don't remember how much their ID books were, but their passports, I think they were £58. So the girls had to run off quickly to the ATM. There is an ATM near the consulate, and they drew some money, and they were able to come back and pay for their IDs and passports. You then get a receipt. Make sure you hang on to that receipt. That receipt is very important. So no card machine. Make sure you have cash. And like I was saying, the guy who took the money from Casey and Hannah, he was full of jokes and laughing and joking about La Bola, and it was very funny. So anyway, but just remember that if you're friendly and kind to the staff, I'm pretty sure they'll be friendly and kind to you as well. So they came, they paid everything. We got the receipts. Make sure you hang on to those receipts. Those receipts are very, very important, because you need to give them in when you collect your new passport. So Casey and Hannah, they asked me to look after the receipts for them. I put them into that big folder I told you we took in, put it into the folder, put it in my backpack, and off we went. We then jumped on the train to come back to where we live to pick up your ID and passport. What happens is, they tell you before you even leave the consulate, do not even ask before 6 months. Okay, that's fair enough. To me, I think 6 months is fair enough. We also have to renew visas now coming in July. So I made sure that Casey and Hannah's IDs and passports were ready to apply would be ready to apply if they took 6 months, but they didn't. The best thing is, after 3 months, almost to the day, we received an email from the High Commission that their passports were ready. It was a very exciting day, and we were very happy. And we're gonna get to VFS in the next video, but we then planned Leah's trip to VFS to do her child passport the same day that we went to collect Casey and Hannah's passports. Okay, now I did not go with Casey and Hannah to collect their passport, because at VFS, when you go and do a passport for your children, both parents have to be present. So I had to be present with Martin at VFS to do Leah's passport. So Casey and Hannah had to go by themselves to the High Commission. Now, on the email, it states that you can only collect your passport between 2 and 3, Monday to Friday. You have to stick to that. You're not going to be able to get your passport unless they've said so. Then a couple of days later, the ID book came. The email that their ID book was ready for collection came through first. A couple of days later, the email came through that their ID book was ready. Their passport was ready for collection. So we went and collected their passport. So they were going to go and collect both. It did say, please, on the email, they do cover themselves, say, please remember, if you have used more than one email address for one or more passport, it doesn't necessarily mean that both passports are there. Just remember that it might be that it's just one of the two or two of the three, but very fortunate for us, it was both ID books and both passports. So we made a day to go to London, and all of us went together, and Martin and myself and Leah went off to VFS, and Casey and Hannah went off to the High Commission. So they got to the High Commission, and I think Hannah said they got there at around 1:30, but there was no queue, and it would be stupid to stand in a queue for half an hour. So they went away and they came back, and I think they came back at about 10 to 2, and there was already a queue. So they joined the back of the queue. Anyway, they got in very happily. There were both ID books and both passports were ready for collection. The girls handed in their receipt. Remember, I told you that receipt is very important. And what Casey and Hannah did do is they checked every single bit of information. They made sure their ID number was correct, their surname was spelled correctly, their first names were spelled correctly, the date of birth was correct. Okay, obviously date of issue. you don't know the date of issue. You're just checking your main things. And then on their adult passport, which is now valid for 10 years, they had to check everything, make sure that the ID number was correct, make sure their birthday was correct, make sure their names were spelled correctly. So they did check everything. And according to Casey and Hannah, they did say that the lady told them to please check all your, please check everything 100%, make sure it's correct. So that is our experience with going to the South African High Commission to get ID books and passports for Casey and Hannah. Now, as I'm sure when I went through the video just now, when I had the video up about how I went to the South African High Commission website, you need to remember that you can only apply for an adult passport or for an ID book once your children are over 15 and a half years old. Please also remember that the High Commission only do certain things because they've handed over some things to VFS. You would have seen on the video the things that South African High Commission do and the things that they know. VFS does other passports. I'm going to also do a VFS video, and you will be able to see our experience and procedure with going to VFS. Honestly, I was impressed with the South African High Commission. We expected to wait 6 months. That's why I said we did the passports and the ID books early, because we knew we were having to renew our visa in July this year. So we did all the steps that we had to do to make sure that even if it did take 6 months, the ID book and passport would be here before we have to apply for visas. So give yourself 6 months. Make sure that you understand that nothing is going to come before. So, just sort of put your mind like that. It was a hell of a bonus that after 3 months, Casey and Hannah's passports and IDs were ready for collection. Like I said, we made a day to go to London, picked them up, and we have them now. It has been, and I was impressed. Casey and Hannah said the service was very good when they went and collected their passport. They handed the stuff. Oh, and one thing that you need to remember, if you go to the High Commission, when you hand your old passport, they stamp cancelled on it, and they cut the corners off the passports, so your passport will be cancelled. Okay, just remember that. So your old passport will be cancelled. Your new passport will obviously not be cancelled, and it will look just like this, and it will be fine. And you need to remember that that passport is no longer valid. So your new passport, your brand new one that you've just got, will be valid, and you can use it when you need to. Honestly, it was a pleasant experience. I wasn't unhappy at all. And we were made to feel welcome at the consulate, it was nice. And other than that, if you do what's asked of you, if you follow everything that they're saying, it will go quick. It will move along and you'll be fine. But honestly, I say take it as 6 months. Don't try and, if you can see that your child or someone's passport is about to expire and you need to get to the consulate, do yourself a favor, give yourself at least 6 months for that to get done. I'm not sure about the ID books. The ID books, I'm not sure how long they take. I would probably assume about 6 months as well. And don't forget, here in the UK, you cannot apply for a smart card. It has to be the green ID book. But I don't have a smart card. I mean, I obviously when I got married, I changed my surname, and I still have my green ID book anyway. So a green ID book's not a problem. And I'm still South African anyway. So yes, if you want an ID card, you will have to go to South Africa. So that is our experience, and I can tell you it was a positive one. We didn't have any problems, and everything ran smoothly. And it was also nice to have a day out in London with the girls and, show them around. And yeah, I hope this video has been helpful. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. And yes, I will see you when I do the next one.